I'm sitting here.
Brecken?
Here.
Moore?
Here.
Shaner?
Here.
Scott?
Here.
Waters?
Here.
Can we stand for a moment of silent prayer followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, please? Amen. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I get to read some proclamations here today. One of them is about 2 weeks old, but we're still reading it, so we can get it in the record. The Arbor Day holiday was observed in 1872 with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska. And Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world. Whereas trees reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, cutting heat and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, and produce oxygen and provide habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees are a renewable resource giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products. Whereas trees in our city increase property values and enhance the economic vitality of the business area and beautify our community with a source of joy and spiritual renewal. Now, therefore, I, Robert E. Scott, Mayor of the City of Sioux City, Iowa, on behalf of the City Council, do hereby proclaim April 24, 2020 as Arbor Day in Sioux City and urge all citizens to plant trees for the well-being of this and future generations. Next is one I have for, whereas in Iowa, there are hundreds of children and youth in foster care being provided for with a safe and stable home, and with the compassion and nurture of foster family, there is no task more important than ensuring all Iowa children grow up healthy and safe. And whereas adopted parents who open their hearts and their homes to children during times of crisis play a vital role in helping families heal and reconnect, thereby launching Iowa youth into successful adulthood. Whereas Iowa foster families work to ensure children remain in their communities and schools, resulting in continual need for more foster families in counties across Iowa. Whereas all young people in or leaving foster care deserve to have a permanent home, meaningful connection to caring adults who becomes a supportive and lasting presence in their life. Whereas the Iowa Department of Human Services and LSI Foster Care and Adoption and numerous individuals and organizations work to increase public awareness of the needs of children in foster care, as well as the dedicated and valuable contribution of foster parents. Now, therefore, I, Robert E. Scott, Mayor of the City of Iowa, on behalf of the City Council, do hereby proclaim 2020 as Foster Care Month and urge all Iowans to help children in foster care build their brightest futures. All right, with that, we'll go to the agenda. If anyone wants to phone in today, please call 224-4996 if you want to speak on an agenda item. Items 2 through 10B constitute a consent agenda. You'll consider them to pass unanimously unless a separate roll call vote is asked for by a council member. If you want to speak on any of those items, please call in. State your name and address for the record, but limit your call to 3 minutes. Items 11 and 12 are part of the discussion portion of the agenda. Again, call in if you want to speak on that. I'll move the consent agenda.
Second.
2 is reading of the City Council minutes of April 27, 2020. 3 is a resolution authorizing final payment to Cardis Manufacturing for the South Perimeter Fence construction. 4 is actions relating grants. A is a resolution approving a 5-year consolidated plan and strategy for the CBDG Home and Emergency Solutions Program. Jill, you may need to come up here where you can get a little closer to a microphone there.
Oh, no, that one's on now.
That one's on? Okay.
Yep.
You're good then. I'm sorry. I should have known this crew would have things ready to rock and roll. Go ahead.
Jill Waterside, Neighborhood Services Manager. I just wanted to provide a quick overview of our 5-year plan. So this is a prerequisite for us to receive federal CDBG funds, home funds, and ESG funds, and we use those funding sources for a variety of projects around our community, from public services to public infrastructure, housing rehabilitation, homelessness prevention, all sorts of things. I did want to point out With the plan, we have left it a little general when it comes to the types of projects that we're going to be doing and the programs we're administering over the next 5 years. Because we do know that we will have to go through with an amendment shortly. We are receiving quite a bit of funding through the CARES Act, through CDBG and ESG funding. Right now, we're anticipating around $1 million in CDBG CV funding, and then also about $500,000 in ESG CV funding in this first round, and we'll also receive some additional funding as the months go on. So with that, we are required to complete a plan of what we're going to use that funding for, and that will be part of an amendment to this plan. So even though we're approving this hopefully today and submitting to HUD, we will be coming back with an amendment shortly that outlines how we're going to utilize that CARES Act funding.
Questions for Jill?
Hey, Jill, this is Dan, and you have a May 15th deadline for submittal, don't you?
Yes, correct.
Okay. This is a big deal in my opinion, and Jill, you're to be commended for the amount of work that you put into this strategic plan and the consolidated plan. I mean, it's just, when you read through this, it's just amazing with all of the categories that you had with the needs assessment, the housing market analysis, the strategic plan, and the annual action plan. And it's all important. But is it safe to say that a majority of the grants coming in, the $11 million over the next 5 years, that a majority of that is under the Community Development Block Grant?
Yes, that's correct. We anticipate about $1.7 million a year in CDBG funding, and then probably around $400,000 to $450,000 in home funds, and around $140,000 to $143,000 in ESG funds each year. So yes, the majority of the funding coming in is CDBG funds. Okay,
and am I correct in thinking that this has a significant impact on the low and moderate income?
Yes, absolutely. Yep, a large
folks with housing and deficiencies. I could not believe, maybe I don't need to be making these specific comments, but Jill, I couldn't believe some of the deficiencies that were pointed out in your consolidated plan when it comes to housing. And that's what we're working on 1 year at a time or 1 month at a time, trying to correct those or to eliminate the deficiencies.
Yes, that is correct. A large portion of our budget does go to housing rehabilitation through a variety of different programs that we offer to improve housing. Also, our home funds we have utilized and will continue to utilize those for the construction of new affordable housing as well. And then a large portion of our funding also does go to infrastructure. So things like park improvements, streets, alleys, sidewalks, and lower to moderate income neighborhoods.
Retaining walls.
So it's
In the past, we did
really
retaining walls.
all-inclusive program, and it's really important to the city and its citizens. I mean, you even touch on, or even address, I shouldn't say you touch on it, you address the special needs of homelessness and what to do there as well. So this is really a broad brush of taking care of the needs of all citizens, really, when it comes to housing, primarily housing, with the housing market the way it is. So rentals and owner-occupied, both, correct? I mean, it includes, of course it includes the rentals, but you're also including owner-occupied homes as well.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, and if you don't have a chance to actually review all of it, the executive summary it's kind of in the first few pages. The executive summary is worthwhile reading because it really touches on a good summary of what this entire program is. So thanks, Jill, for all your hard work on this. Thanks for holding. I think you had at least 3 public meetings on this, if not more.
Yep, we had some public meetings. We also met over in South Sioux City and Dakota City. They partner with us. Without their partnership, we would not be eligible to receive home funding. So we're grateful for that partnership with those 2 communities as well. And also the typical notices in the paper. We send out surveys and those kinds of things too. And we update this annually, so you'll continue to see it over the next 5 years.
Right. Thank you, Jill.
Thank you.
I appreciate your answers to my questions. Thanks.
Thanks.
B is a resolution.
Bill.
B is a resolution approving the annual action plan for CBDG home and emergency solutions programs. 5 are actions adopting construction documents. A is a resolution adopting plans and specs for the Grandview Park tank replacement project. B is a resolution adopting plans and specs for the taxiway A reconstruction project at the airport. 6 are actions relating to agreements and contracts. A is a resolution awarding a consulting services agreement to EDA for the replacement of the fire alarms at the Tyson Long Lines and Convention Center. B is a resolution approving the contract with Western Specialty for the Heritage Parking Ramp Repair Project. C is a resolution approving an employee assistance program agreement with Mercy One. 7 are purchasing. A is a resolution awarding purchase orders to Boundtree Medical for equipment and pharmaceuticals for the fire department. B is a resolution awarding a purchase order to Integration Partners for Extreme Network Switches. 8 are applications for cigarette, tobacco, nicotine vapor permits. See the list, come forward if you have any questions. 9 are applications for beer and liquor license. See the list, come forward if you have any questions. 10 are receipt of minutes. See the list, come forward if you have any questions. Anyone to be heard? Call the roll, please.
Hey, Mayor, before we do that, may I ask just a quick question on 7A, the small medical equipment, supplies, and pharmaceuticals?
Yep.
Was that was coming our way, that request was coming our way, wasn't it, anyway, without the COVID-19, or did COVID-19?
No, that's our annual purchase for ambulances, I think, isn't it?
The
Yes,
annual
this is our annual
That's what I
purchase
was
for
thinking
ambulance.
too.
Yeah,
but
it's just
wasn't
our
sure.
annual purchases.
Okay.
Moore,
Aye.
Shaner,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Waters,
Aye.
Gretkin.
Aye.
11 is a hearing resolution approving plans and specs for the Florence Avenue manhole replacement cover. I'll move that.
Second.
The hearing is now open. Anyone would like to be heard, please call in, I guess. Seeing none, the hearing is closed. Call the roll, please.
Shaner,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Waters,
Aye.
Gretkin,
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
12 is an ordinance amending the municipal code to change the measurement point for view obstruction from property line to curb line. I'll move that. First reading.
Second.
Call the roll.
Scott,
Aye.
Waters,
Aye.
Gretkin,
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
Shaner,
Aye.
Anybody opposed to waiving the statutory rule? I'll move that.
Oh.
No.
I'll move it then.
Second.
Waters,
Aye.
Gretkin,
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
Shaner,
Aye.
Scott.
Aye. I'll move second, third.
Second.
Gretkin,
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
Shaner,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Waters.
Aye.
Any citizen concerns? Seeing none, we'll go to council concerns. Mr. Gretkin.
I just I wanted to make a quick statement on behalf of the council, actually to acknowledge the fire departments for their efforts in that big fire over the weekend, fire, and I think maybe last Friday, Fire and Feed Energy Company. Sioux City Fire Rescue did a great job, South Sioux Fire Department, Sergeant Bluff, and as well as the 185th and Iowa Air National Guard did a great job. I think they got called out a couple more times over the weekend, and appreciate all the cooperation and support from all the fire departments in the Siouxland area. So that was a big deal, and it turned out as well as it could have. And just a quick question. Is there a conference board meeting this week? I've got a couple of schedules that say we had one scheduled for Thursday, but I'm not sure.
No, but we will have to have one because the renewal of the city assessor's contract has to be voted on pretty quickly here, I think. And Nicole's going to give us.
I saw your email, Mayor, on that, but for some reason I had in a couple different places we had a meeting, but there is not one on Thursday.
No, it was, but at the advice of the city attorney, she advised that we not meet unless we have to.
Okay, thank you.
Kate?
That's all.
Julie?
No concerns. I'd like to echo what Pete said. I know that the fire department was on scene until 10:30 the following morning, so that puts about an 18-hour shift to get that done. And wow, the minimal loss of property, it didn't spread to any neighbors, so I commend our emergency services as well.
Okay, Alex?
Yeah, all I would say is I understand the numbers that are coming in as far as relating to the COVID crisis are pretty alarming, and I worry that we'll continue to see those numbers coming in here for a while at least. And I would just urge citizens as well as corporations to really heed the CDC warnings as far as social distancing. If you're going to those essential services, please respect those boundaries, wear face masks if at all possible. If you need those, there are plenty of places that are making those and donating them for free, or make sure to reach out. But I would also urge employers to really implement those practices. I understand we're talking a lot of times about processing facilities and the protocols that we expect to see there because of their numbers. But I would also urge any employers in the Siouxland community, please make sure that you're protecting your staff as well as your customers. Moving forward, I think that we're going to need to really band together to get through this time as our community continues to see numbers increasing, especially with neighboring counties opening up for business, so to speak. We need to make sure that we're doing our best to stay home and only going out for essential services if at all possible.
Okay. Dan?
I agree wholeheartedly with Council Member Mr. Waters' comments. And agree with those. I did hear a pastor yesterday, Pastor Pete Spicer. He's got a good name, Mr. Gretkin. Pastor.
Yes, he does.
A Nebraska farmer and a sheep herder quoted his wife as saying, "The way it is now is not the way it always will be." And I sure pray for that to come true. My concerns are these. Typically, we would have had a birthday cake provided by my wife, Mary Kay. Alex's birthday's tomorrow, May 5. My birthday is Thursday, May 7th, and the mayor's birthday is May 10th. So, Julie, this would have been your first year to have a huge cake at council that we'd share and celebrate, especially the mayor and me celebrating another year on the calendar. So happy birthday to Alex. Happy birthday, Mayor.
And happy birthday to you, Dan.
Thank you, Alex. I also just want to pass on, we've had some concerns voiced to the mayor and the council. We're addressing those as fast and as best as we can. I have one in particular that I need to respond to yet. But I also want to pass on to you that when I do run into people, whether it's by the phone or a Zoom meeting, the mayor and the council have received compliments on our leadership and all that we're doing under these circumstances. And so I just want to say thank you to each and every one of you for pulling together and making sure we're responsive, which I think we are. The mayor has done a great job, not only locally, but nationally, and has represented us very well. And I'm proud to be a council member. I'm proud to be on the Sioux City Council, and you know, it's one day at a time, and we just have to keep putting one foot in front of the other and do what we can. That's all I have, Mayor.
Well, I wish you all a happy birthday, and I won't forget that Nicole's birthday is today, so you might want to all wish her a happy birthday as well.
Oh, my gosh.
Happy birthday!
Birthday, Nicole. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
She was looking a little dejected, Dan, when you were going through the list, so.
Aw.
Well, Nicole, may the 4th be with you.
Thank you.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
Moore?
I feel bad.
Well, just have a big cake when you come
Aye.
back.
Shaner?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
Waters?
Aye.
Gretkin?
Aye. Happy birthday, everybody.
Yeah.
Happy birthday!
Thank you.
Take care and be safe.